Now you see it, now you don't. Here you have it, here you won't. Oh, Diet Pepsi, one small calorie. Now you see it, now you don't. That great Pepsi taste. Diet Pepsi won't go to your waste. So now you see it, now you don't. Oh, Diet Pepsi, one small calorie. Now you see it, now you don't.
Friday.
Hi.
Harper Valley hires a man to seduce Stella. Next, the original Brady Bunch cast is back for the wedding of the year.
Both of us getting married at the same time.
I think I better sit down.
You are sitting down.
It's double romance when the Brady girls get married. Then someone is impersonating Nero Wolfe to recover some deadly evidence.
The world is not ready for more than one Nero Wolfe.
And the mystery of the green lacquered box sends Archie to the morgue. Watch February's Finest on NBC.
You may not be thinking about pizza first thing in the morning, but at Pizza Hut, we're thinking about you. We start out pretty early at Pizza Hut, so the dough has time to rise. Chopping up the toppings, oh so we're ready for your order. Oven fresh, just for you at your hometown Pizza Hut restaurant. Your hometown Pizza Hut.
You can shower, honey. I found the soap.
Soap? You know I don't use your soap. Soap can dry my skin. I use Caress.
Caress is the body bar with bath oil. It leaves your skin softer and smoother than any soap can.
Honey?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you use Caress.
Mm-hmm.
Caress with bath oil for the soft you can't get from soap.
NBC News Update brought to you by the new 1981 Volkswagen Gas Rabbit. Volkswagen does it again. Here's Gene Pell.
Good evening. At his first news conference as president, Ronald Reagan said he is not considering revenge against Iran, but is not sure reconciliation with the Tehran government is possible. The president also announced new measures to control what he called the inflationary monster. They include a freeze on all pending federal regulations and steps to eliminate the Council on Wage and Price Stability. Two major oil companies have boosted the wholesale cost of gasoline and home heating oil by up to 3 cents a gallon. And the government of Poland has issued tough new warnings that it will take necessary actions to end the current labor unrest gripping that country. I'm Gene Pell in Washington. More news later on this NBC station.
Double skating, double talking, a double daring duo takes your breath away. But the single most favorite double in the world is double good, double mint gum.
Double your pleasure with double mint gum. Double good, double fresh, double delicious.
Oh, the single most favorite double in the world is double good, double mint gum.
It's the single most favorite double.
Bobby, you think we'll be able to make it by tonight?
The prom tonight. Where do we start?
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good. Makes me feel nice. Have a Coke and a smile. That's the way it should be. And I like to see the whole world smiling with me. Have a Coke and a...
Bobby, is that you?
Smile.
Next, it's a love letter to Jack Benny with highlights of his best shows, hosted by George Burns, Bob Hope, and Johnny Carson.
Why am I here working for free?
Because I'm your idol.
With special guest Ronald Reagan and performances by Frank Sinatra, Gregory Peck, John Wayne, Don Rickles, and Lucille Ball, immediately following the presidential address.
This is NBC News Update, brought to you by General Motors. Now here is Jessica Savage.
Good evening. In just a few minutes, President Reagan will warn the nation it faces economic calamity unless it attacks inflation and unemployment. President Reagan's first televised address on the economy will be carried next here on NBC. Tonight, more than 12,000 Polish workers walked off their jobs in a town along the Soviet border. The protest came as a former Polish prime minister was ousted from the Communist Party. Marine Private Robert Garwood today was convicted of collaborating with the enemy while he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. And Ella Grasso, who was governor of Connecticut for 6 years, died tonight of cancer. She was 61. I'm Jessica Savage in Washington. More news later on this NBC station.
Good evening. I'm speaking to you tonight to give you a report on the state of our nation's economy, and regret to say that we're in the worst economic mess since the Great Depression. A few days ago, I was presented with a report I'd asked for, a comprehensive audit, if you will, of our economic condition. You won't like it. I didn't like it. But we have to face the truth and then go to work to turn things around. And make no mistake about it, we can turn them around. I'm not going to subject you to the jumble of charts, figures, and economic jargon of that audit, but rather we'll try to explain where we are, how we got there, and how we can get back. First, however, let me just give a few attention getters from the audit. The federal budget is out of control, and we face runaway deficits of almost $80 billion for this budget year that ends September 30th. That deficit is larger than the entire federal budget in 1957, and so is the almost $80 billion we will pay in interest this year on the national debt. 20 years ago, in 1960, our federal government payroll was less than $13 billion. Today, it is $75 billion. During these 20 years, our population has only increased by 23.3%. The federal budget has gone up 528%. Now, we've just had 2 years of back-to-back double-digit inflation. 13.3% in 1979, 12.4% last year. The last time this happened was in World War I. In 1960, mortgage interest rates averaged about 6%. They're 2.5 times as high now, 15.4%. The percentage of your earnings the federal government took in taxes in 1960 has almost doubled. And finally, there are 7 million Americans caught up in the personal indignity and human tragedy of unemployment. If they stood in a line allowing 3 feet for each person, the line would reach from the coast of Maine to California. Well, so much for the audit itself. Let me try to put this in personal terms. Here is a dollar such as you earned, spent, or saved in 1960. And here is a quarter, a dime, and a penny. 36 cents. That's what this 1960 dollar is worth today. And at the present world inflation rate, and our rate should continue 3 more years, that dollar of 1960 will be worth a quarter. What initiative is there to save? And if we don't save, we're short of the investment capital needed for business and industry expansion. Workers in Japan and West Germany save several times the percentage of their income that Americans do. What's happened to that American dream of owning a home? Only 10 years ago, a family could buy a home and the monthly payment averaged little more than a quarter, 27 cents out of each dollar earned. Today, it takes 42 cents out of every dollar of income. So fewer than 1 out of 11 families can afford to buy their first new home. Regulations adopted by government with the best of intentions have added $666 to the cost of an automobile. It is estimated that altogether, regulations of every kind on shopkeepers, farmers, and major industries add $100 billion or more to the cost of the goods and services we buy. And then another $20 billion is spent by government handling the paperwork created by those regulations. Now, I'm sure you're getting the idea that the audit presented to me found government policies of the last few decades responsible for our economic troubles. We forgot or just overlooked the fact that government, any government, has a built-in tendency to grow. Now, we all had a hand in looking to government for benefits as if government had some source of revenue other than our earnings. Many, if not most, of the things we thought of or that government offered to us seemed attractive. In the years following the Second World War, it was easy, for a while at least, to overlook the price tag. Our income more than doubled in the 25 years after the war. We increased our take-home pay in those 25 years by more than we had amassed in all the preceding 150 years put together. Yes, there was some inflation, 1 or 1.5% a year. That didn't bother us. But if we look back at those golden years, we recall that even then, voices had been raised warning that inflation, like radioactivity, was cumulative and that once started, it could get out of control. Some government programs seemed so worthwhile that borrowing to fund them didn't bother us. By 1960, our national debt stood at $284 billion. Congress in 1971 decided to put a ceiling of $400 billion on our ability to borrow. Today, the debt is $934 billion. So-called temporary increases or extensions in the debt ceiling have been allowed 21 times in these 10 years. And now, I've been forced to ask for another increase in the debt ceiling, or the government will be unable to function past the middle of February. And I've only been here 16 days. Before we reach the day when we can reduce the debt ceiling, we may, in spite of our best efforts, see a national debt in excess of $1 trillion. Now, this is a figure that's literally beyond our comprehension. We know now that inflation results from all that deficit spending. Government has only two ways of getting money other than raising taxes. It can go into the money market and borrow, competing with its own citizens and driving up interest rates, which it has done, or it can print money, and it's done that. Both methods are inflationary. We're victims of language. The very word inflation leads us to think of it as just high prices. And then, of course, we resent the person who puts on the price tags, forgetting that he or she is also a victim of inflation. Inflation is not just high prices. It's a reduction in the value of our money. When the money supply is increased, but the goods and services available for buying are not, we have too much money chasing too few goods. Wars are usually accompanied by inflation. Everyone is working or fighting, but production is of weapons and munitions, not things we can buy and use. Now, one way out would be to raise taxes so that government need not borrow or print money. But in all these years of government growth, we've reached, indeed surpassed, the limit of our people's tolerance or ability to bear an increase in the tax burden. Prior to World War II, taxes were such that on the average we only had to work just a little over 1 month each year to pay our total federal, state, and local tax bill. Today, we have to work 4 months to pay that bill. Some say shift the tax burden to business and industry, but business doesn't pay taxes. Oh, don't get the wrong idea. Business is being taxed so much so that we're being priced out of the world market. But business must pass its costs of operations, and that includes taxes, on to the customer in the price of the product. Only people pay taxes, all the taxes. Government just uses business in a kind of sneaky way to help collect the taxes. They're hidden in the price. We aren't aware of how much tax we actually pay. Today, this once great industrial giant of ours has the lowest rate of gain in productivity of virtually all the industrial nations with whom we must compete in the world market. We can't even hold our own market here in America against foreign automobiles, steel, and a number of other products. Japanese production of automobiles is almost twice as great per worker as it is in America. Japanese steel workers outproduce their American counterparts by about 25%. Now, this isn't because they're better workers. I'll match the American working man or woman against anyone in the world. But we have to give them the tools and equipment that workers in the other industrial nations have. We invented the assembly line and mass production, but punitive tax policies and excessive and unnecessary regulations, plus government borrowing, have stifled our ability to update plant and equipment. When capital investment is made, it's too often for some unproductive alterations demanded by government to meet various of its regulations. Excessive taxation of individuals has robbed us of incentive and made overtime unprofitable. We once produced about 40% of the world's steel. We now produce 19%. We were once the greatest producer of automobiles, producing more than all the rest of the world combined. That is no longer true. And in addition, the big three, the major auto companies in our land, have sustained tremendous losses in the past year and have been forced to lay off thousands of workers. All of you who are working know that even with cost of living pay raises, you can't keep up with inflation. In our progressive tax system, as you increase the number of dollars you earn, you find yourself moved up into higher tax brackets, paying a higher tax rate just for trying to hold your own. The result? Your standard of living is going down. Over the past decades, we've talked of curtailing government spending so that we can then lower the tax burden. Sometimes we've even taken a run at doing that. But there were always those who told us that taxes couldn't be cut until spending was reduced. But you know, we can lecture our children about extravagance until we run out of voice and breath. Or we can cure their extravagance by simply reducing their allowance. It's time to recognize that we've come to a turning point. We're threatened with an economic calamity of tremendous proportions, and the old business-as-usual treatment can't save us. Together, we must chart a different course. We must increase productivity. That means making it possible for industry to modernize and make use of the technology which we ourselves invented. That means putting Americans back to work, and that means, above all, bringing government spending back within government revenues, which is the only way, together with increased productivity, that we can reduce and, yes, eliminate inflation. In the past, we've tried to fight inflation one year and then, with unemployment increase, turn the next year to fighting unemployment with more deficit spending as a pump primer. So again, up goes inflation. It hasn't worked. We don't have to choose between inflation and unemployment. They go hand in hand. It's time to try something different, and that's what we're going to do. I've already placed a freeze on hiring replacements for those who retire or leave government service. I've ordered a cut in government travel, the number of consultants to the government, and the buying of office equipment and other items. I put a freeze on pending regulations and set up a task force under Vice President Bush to review regulations with an eye toward getting rid of as many as possible. I have decontrolled oil, which should result in more domestic production and less dependence on foreign oil. And I'm eliminating that ineffective council on wage and price stability. But it will take more, much more. And we must realize there is no quick fix. At the same time, however, we cannot delay in implementing an economic program aimed at both reducing tax rates to stimulate productivity and reducing the growth in government spending to reduce unemployment and inflation. On February 18th, I will present in detail an economic program to Congress embodying the features I've just stated. It will propose budget cuts in virtually every department of government. It is my belief that these actual budget cuts will only be part of the savings. As our cabinet secretaries take charge of the departments, they will search out areas of waste, extravagance, and costly administrative overhead which could yield additional and substantial reductions. Now, at the same time we're doing this, we must go forward with a tax relief package. I shall ask for a 10% reduction across the board in personal income tax rates for each of the next 3 years. Proposals will also be submitted for accelerated depreciation allowances for business to provide necessary capital so as to create jobs. Now, here again, in saying this, I know that language, as I said earlier, can get in the way of a clear understanding of what our program is intended to do. Budget cuts can sound as if we're going to reduce total government spending to a lower level than was spent the year before. Well, this is not the case. The budgets will increase as our population increases, and each year we'll see spending increases to match that growth. Government revenues will increase as the economy grows, but the burden will be lighter for each individual because the economic base will have been expanded by reason of the reduced rates. Now let me show you a chart that I've had drawn to illustrate how this can be. Here you see two trend lines. The bottom line shows the increase in tax revenues. The red line on top is the increase in government spending. Both lines turn upward, reflecting the giant tax increase already built into the system for this year, 1981, and the increases in spending built into the 81 and 82 budgets and on into the future. As you can see, the spending line rises at a steeper slant than the revenue line. And that gap between those lines illustrates the increasing deficits we've been running, including this year's $80 billion deficit. Now, in the second chart, the lines represent the positive effects when Congress accepts our economic program. Both lines continue to rise, allowing for necessary growth. But the gap narrows as spending cuts continue over the next few years until finally the two lines come together, meaning a balanced budget. I am confident that my administration can achieve that. At that point, tax revenues, in spite of rate reductions, will be increasing faster than spending, which means we can look forward to further reductions in the tax rates. Now, in all of this, we will, of course, work closely with the Federal Reserve System toward the objective of a stable monetary policy. Our spending cuts will not be at the expense of the truly needy. We will, however, seek to eliminate benefits to those who are not really qualified by reason of need. As I've said before, on February 18th, I will present this economic package of budget reductions and tax reform to a joint session of Congress and to you in full detail. Our basic system is sound. We can, with compassion, continue to meet our responsibility to those who, through no fault of their own, need our help. We can meet fully the other legitimate responsibilities of government. We cannot continue any longer our wasteful ways at the expense of the workers of this land or of our children. Since 1960, our government has spent $5.1 trillion. Our debt has grown by $648 billion. Prices have exploded by 178%. How much better off are we for all that? Well, we all know we're very much worse off. When we measure how harshly these years of inflation, lower productivity, and uncontrolled government growth have affected our lives, we know we must act, and act now. We must not be timid. We will restore the freedom of all men and women to excel and to create. We will unleash the energy and genius of the American people, traits which have never failed us. To the Congress of the United States, I extend my hand in cooperation, and I believe we can go forward in a bipartisan manner. I found a real willingness to cooperate on the part of Democrats and members of my own party. To my colleagues in the executive branch of government and to all federal employees, I ask that we work in the spirit of service. I urge those great institutions in America, business and labor, to be guided by the national interest, and I'm confident they will. The only special interest that we will serve is the interest of all the people. We can create the incentives which take advantage of the genius of our economic system. A system, as Walter Lippmann observed more than 40 years ago, which for the first time in history gave men, quote, a way of producing wealth in which the good fortune of others multiplied their own, unquote. Our aim is to increase our national wealth so all will have more, not just redistribute what we already have, which is just a sharing of scarcity. We can begin to reward hard work and risk-taking by forcing this government to live within its means. Over the years, we've let negative economic forces run out of control. We've stalled the judgment day, but we no longer have that luxury. We're out of time. And to you, my fellow citizens, let us join in a new determination to rebuild the foundation of our society, to work together, to act responsibly. Let us do so with the most profound respect for that which must be preserved, as well as with sensitive understanding and compassion for those who must be protected. We can leave our children with an unrepayable massive debt and a shattered economy, or we can leave them liberty in a land where every individual has the opportunity to be whatever God intended us to be. All it takes is a little common sense and recognition of our own ability. Together, we can forge a new beginning for America. Thank you, and good night.
Now, you know, I used to do half-hour shows all the time, you see. And this show tonight, of course, is a special. That is, they call it a special. It's not a special at all. It's an hour show. They always make a big thing. It's all it is 2 half hours put together. It's not a special. To me, a special is when coffee goes from 85 cents to 74.
A love letter to Jack Benny, sent with affection and gratitude for the many wonderful moments he gave us all. Posted by 3 of Jack's dearest friends, George Burns, Bob Hope, and Johnny Carson. And from the Jack Benny specials, Lucille Ball, Dick Clark, Phyllis Diller, Walt Disney, Dean Martin, Dick Martin, Gregory Peck, President Ronald Reagan, Dan Rowan, Don Rickles, Dinah Shore, Frank Sinatra, Red Skelton, the Smothers Brothers, Elkie Summer, John Wayne, Lawrence Welk, and featuring from Jack's old gang, Phil Harris, Mary Livingston, Dennis Day, Rochester, Don Wilson, Mel Blanc, Frank Nelson, and Benny Rubin.
We appreciate that. But tonight, the applause is for Jack. This won't be a eulogy. We did that years ago. Now it's time to look back at Jack Benny, the performer. The comedian who made us laugh through a depression, 2 wars, and 3 Indian uprisings.
You know, with Jack, it looked easy, but you don't sustain a career for 65 years by just saying, well, and now cut that out.
That only accounts for about 30 years of it.
So in the next 2 hours, we're going to be talking a lot about Jack Benny and be watching loads of hilarious clips from those wonderful specials he did.
We're really looking forward to it because there's no one we love more than Jack, no one we admired more.
And no one would be doing so many straight lines about. Okay, so what about the comedy of Jack Benny? When you hear those 2 words, Jack Benny, the first thing you think of is cheap.
And the second thing you think of is cheap. Jack wasn't just cheap, he was the cheapest. That's because Jack knew that extremes are funny. Having a safe in your house isn't funny, but an underground vault with squeaky iron doors and a moat full of hungry alligators, that's funny. Driving a 10-year-old car, not funny. But a Maxwell with petunias growing through the hood, funny.
And Jack's eyes, they weren't just blue, they had to be bluer than the thumbs of a cross-eyed carpenter or the thumb of an Eskimo hitchhiker. I love that one.
You'd love it better if you could say it. Over the years, Jack established that...
You don't like my timing?
Over the years, Jack established that stingy character so solidly that any reference to it was good for a laugh. And the references were frequent.
Take you, Jack. Did you have complete communication with your parents?
Well, come to think of it, there was a lack of communication between my parents and me. Not that I didn't love them, you know. It was a toll call.
I seem to recall that when Disneyland first opened, I gave you a 14-karat solid gold pass, lifetime pass to Disneyland.
Yes, you did give me a solid gold pass.
Well, where is it?
Here. I had it rolled down.
And I know, my friend, that you'll want to be the first today, because to the first customer today and today only, we give a free solid gold wristwatch. Don't reach for your wallets now. Unfortunately, although this is a very high-class show, we sometimes get a low-class type of person in our audience, pickpockets. We want to warn you gentlemen in the audience against pickpockets, so make sure your wallet is where it's supposed to be. I want to tell you folks that luscious Lucille is the most fantastic dancing girl in all history. When Lucille... Mr. Bubble, and Sally Rand grabbed her fans and flew back to Capistrano.
You know, that Barker looks familiar. Then, of course, there were the gags about Jack's age.
I want to tell you I haven't been this excited since Alexander Graham Bell said, "Can you hear me, Jack?"
You see, we call you Mr. Benny, both my brother and myself, out of respect.
Out of respect.
After all, you are a little bit older than we are.
That's right.
A little?
Yeah, that's right.
A little older, huh?
Yeah.
Well, how old would you think I am?
Gee, I don't know.
Well, guess. Go ahead. I mean, I promise you I won't be offended.
Okay.
Just guess. Guess how
Tommy,
old I am.
He always says
Just
he's...
looking at me, guess.
He always says he's 39, right? So he's got to be at least 44?
Well, at least he couldn't be 44 because he wasn't in the last war, was he?
Yeah, but maybe he was a coward.
Could be something else.
Something else?
Yeah, did you ever notice the way he walks?
That was another thing, Jack's walk. You'll hear lots of kidding about that tonight.
Bob, what was it exactly about Jack's walk?
I don't know, but Phil Harris once said, you put a dress on Jack and you could take him anywhere.
Those gestures of his. As a vaudeville monologist, Jack carried a fiddle. In radio, he held a script. But in TV, he didn't know what to do with his hands. He felt awkward. So he turned a weakness into a strength and developed all those gestures that became his trademark. That one was to pinch color into his cheeks.
And then, of course, there was the way he had of turning and looking out to the audience like a wounded deer. It was a reaction, but it was also Jack's way of getting a laugh. He looked at them till they laughed. And if he had to, Jack would outweight them. The audience knew either they laughed or it was the end of the show.
Yeah, that was Jack's style. He looked, he stared, he waited. I think he learned it from a turtle.
I once told him he should team up with Perry Como and make still pictures. But Jack had a routine with Mel Blanc that he used to switch around and it never missed. Watch this. It's not only a comedy classic, but it's a perfect example of Jack's unique pacing.
You are the Tijuana Strings?
Si.
Then I take it you're all from Tijuana, huh?
Si.
Am I right in assuming that you are their leader?
Si.
What's your name?
Si. Si.
The Tijuana Strings, that seems awfully close to the Tijuana Brass. I mean, didn't they ever object to it?
Si.
Well, what do they do?
Su.
Sue?
Si.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, go ahead and play something. Now, what are you going to play?
The flea.
I'm afraid to ask this next one. The flea?
Yes, sir.
Holy smoke, did you say yes, sir?
Si.
Oh, go ahead and play something, will you? Do you object if I play your second number with you? Well, look, this is my dumb show, and I'm going to do it. Now, we'll start at the count of 3. 3. C. Now, follow me. And I want to play this real fast. You know, mucho largo. Ready?
To Jack, the important thing was how funny his show was, not how funny he was. He never counted his own laughs. And I suspect that that quality alone goes a long way toward accounting for the longevity of his career.
One season on his opening radio show, Jack let his cast do the entire half hour without him. He just came on for the last line.
I couldn't do that. I'd be afraid they wouldn't get me out of the straitjacket in time to get in that last line.
But that was Jack, and he didn't think twice about letting this fella open his birthday special.
Thank you, thank you. I'm Jack Benny, and I welcome you to my special. I'm so glad you tuned in, because on tonight's show, I'm celebrating my birthday. And we'll get started in just a minute.
Now, do you believe that? Jack not only let Lawrence Welk open the show, but he gave him his voice, too. And then during his monologue, he called Welk out again.
I'll tell you, I can't get over how great you did that impersonation of me.
Why, Jack, I do a lot of impersonations.
You do a lot of impersonations?
Certainly. Get a load of this, Edward G. Robinson.
Edward G. Robinson, huh?
Now, look, you guys, you keep muscling in on my territory, and I'm gonna let you have it, see?
That's wonderful. That was great. Anybody else?
I can also do Cary Grant.
You can do Cary Grant? Let's hear it.
Judy, Judy, Judy.
But look, I must ask you something, though.
What's that?
You do such great impressions. Do you do them on your own show?
Oh, no. On my show, we don't take any chances.
Jack loved working with straight dramatic actors. In fact, he often would get bigger laughs with them than with other comedians.
Yeah. Well, if that's the way you felt, what are we doing here?
They wouldn't leave me out here alone for $1 million. But there were times, like in those flashback scenes Jack did so often, when he felt the straight actor gave the comedy an extra dimension. One of my favorite scenes was this one, where he goes over to Gregory Peck's house to ask him if Greg would make his first TV appearance on Jack's show.
Yeah.
I'm Jack Benny. Mr. Peck is expecting me.
Oh, yes, Mr. Benny. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Peck's secretary. I'll tell him you're here.
Thank you very much. Who's this fella here?
Oh, he's Williams, the butler.
Oh.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, I see. You?
Can I get you anything, sir?
Well, it's a little early for dinner.
I meant to drink.
Oh, to drink? No.
Martini?
No, thanks.
Scotch?
No.
A glass of milk?
Milk? Yes, with a dash of nutmeg. Gregory Peck, Best Actor, To Kill a Mockingbird. Geez, I don't remember that one. I gotta watch more television. I was just looking at this, Greg. This is pretty nice. I didn't know you had one of these, too.
Oh, well, do you have one, Jack?
No, but I was at Rod Steiger's house, and he has one.
Well, Jack, come over here and sit down. I'm sorry I kept you waiting. That
all right.
Phone just won't stop ringing.
Pretty busy, huh?
Oh, there just aren't enough hours. You know, meetings, picture deals, and the new campaign for the Motion Picture and Television Relief Fund. And scripts to read. Would you believe it, Jack, if I told you that I was happier when I was an usher at the Radio City Music Hall?
No, I wouldn't believe it.
Well, neither would I. Well, Jack, what's on your mind?
Well, Greg, now look at you and I. We've been friends for years.
We have?
Yes, and I was wondering if you would like to make...
Oh, there goes the phone, Jack. Excuse me. Hello. Oh, yes. Hello, George. Aha. Yes, I received the rendering and the plans for the new wing for the Motion Picture Country House, and it's just perfect. Perfect. But, George, with financing the way it is today, it'll cost us a fortune. We have to figure it'll cost at least, $20 a square foot, and that'll amount to a lot of money. Now, what I suggest is that we shop around and get another estimate. Okay, George. Yes, I think that's a very good idea. When you get the information, I suggest we have another meeting with the board, and I'll be available anytime you want. Right. Thanks, George. And my best to Ruth. Bye. Oh, sorry, Jack.
Greg, who did that painting there?
Oh, that one's by Van Gogh.
Oh, Van Gogh?
Yeah.
Did Van do this one, too?
That one's by Mike Angelo.
Oh, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
I thought he only did ceilings.
Pardon me, Mr. Peck, but Williams would like to talk to
Oh,
you.
all right, yeah.
Sir, I can't seem to find the car keys for Andrew.
Oh, you want the car keys? Well, let's see.
I found him, Mr.
Don't
Peck.
see... Oh, good, good.
I feel like I'm in the Valley of the Giants. I know how the world looks to Mickey Rooney.
Drive carefully now.
What kind of a car do you drive?
A Volkswagen. Now, Jack.
Volkswagen.
Where were we, Jack? Sit down.
Well, Greg, as I was saying, I'm doing a television show, you see, and I...
Oh, Jack, you don't mind?
Why should I mind?
Hello? Oh, well, no, it's all right if you have all the facts. Go right ahead. Uh-huh. I see. Yes, that's with Faraday in the deal. Yes, and without him, yes, I see. Yes, I understand. And what about the foreign distribution? Yes, of course. I follow that. Now, exactly what is each person's function? I see. I see. Yes. Well, all right, Lou. I'll tell you what. I'll talk to my accountant about it. I'll get back. All right. Bye, Lou.
Thanks.
Well, terribly sorry. Oh, Hilda, would you hold all the phone calls until I notify you, please?
Yes, Hilda, hold the phone. Now, look, Greg, there's no sense of our beating around the bush. You see, the reason I'm here is because, gee, I don't even know how to start this. Really, I want to ask you if you would appear as a guest on my television show.
Oh, well, Jack, I'd be delighted to be on your show.
Well, why not? Give me one good reason. The rehearsal is a sin.
Jack.
It's better than pictures.
Jack.
And it's easier work.
I said I would do it.
I
said I'd be delighted to be on your show.
Gee. Well, Greg, gee, that's nice. But there's just one problem. You know, Greg, I know that you demand a lot of money, you see, and I have such expenses on my show between the scenery and the people and everybody that I don't think I can afford.
No, Jack, listen, Jack, forget all about the money. I'll do your show for nothing.
What did you say?
I said I'll do your show for nothing. Williams, will you get Mr. Benny a drink?
No, thanks. It's just that I haven't had dinner yet. In fact, I didn't even get my milk yet. But Greg, anyway, gee, thanks so much. Not only being on my show, but to come on for nothing. I don't know what to say.
Oh, Jack, I'm
thanks,
delighted.
Greg. Thanks. Thanks very, very much.
Quite all right.
Thanks, Greg.
I'll look forward to it. Right. All right.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. Thanks very much, Greg.
Oh, it's quite all right.
Geez, I could cry. 1 minute. Thanks. Marvelous that you would do this.
Just a minute. You forgot your ball and jacks.
Look, Greg, you're coming on my show for nothing. Keep 'em.
A love letter to Jack Benny will return in a moment.
There was one trick that Jack and his writers often used, and with great success. When Jack was out on that stage, he was constantly being interrupted.
I don't know of anyone who has the problems with the simplest things. Like, for instance, if I go in.
That's a telegram for you.
Yes, well, thank you, but why didn't you... Wait a minute. You know, you look exactly
Yes, I know.
like Red Skelton.
Yeah, you're the 10th person who said that this week. I'm a dreamer, ain't I?
times, but I make the most of them.
What are you doing here?
Well, Jack, this is your 20th anniversary, and I want to do the anniversary waltz with you.
That Dean dances close.
He has to. It holds him up. Sometimes they interrupted Jack in the middle of a joke.
So the first drunk said, a poodle. So the other drunk said, this'll kill you. The other drunk said, look it, if I...
I've tried to tell you 100 times. A million times. I must have said this to you. I don't know how many times. I tell you 100 times, you just shouldn't do it. That's all. You shouldn't do it. That's what I know. I thought it would be funny. Well, it is funny to everybody else, but you just don't say sock it to me to guys like Cassius Clay. That's all. I thought it would...
So this other drunk said, I wish I could make a trade like that. That's the end of the joke.
Sometimes the interruptions came from the audience.
Stop it! Hey, wait a minute! Wait a minute! I mean, what's going on here? Let this man perform. I don't understand it. My Aunt Fanny, she came all the way from Hoboken, New Jersey, to see her idol, Jack Benny. Sit down, lady. All the way from Hoboken to see her idol, Jack Benny, not to see Gunsmoke. 4 days on the train, my Aunt Fanny was, with cheese and crackers. Go on, Aunt Fanny, darling. You can burp up, whatever you want. Wait on, Jack. Please. Wait a minute. Do your stuff. This woman loves you. I'm on your side, Jack. Don't you understand that? You're the dean of comedy. You're the greatest. You're the elder statesman of humor. You deserve attention and respect.
Look, Don.
Will you shut up? Fanny, you should have seen this guy years ago when he was a lot younger. He walked regular.
Don, Jack is just trying to...
Did you see what it is? It's Dinah Shore. Dinah Shore. I didn't recognize her out of the kitchen. I didn't recognize you, Dinah. Sing Natchez to Mobile for Aunt Fanny. Natchez to Mobile. Come on, sing it.
Now, look, Don. Either sit down or get out of here.
I had it with you, Mr. Benny. That's it. Nobody insults me. Nobody. I'm going to take my Fanny and get out of here.
It wasn't only people that interrupted Jack.
We have one of the most exciting musical groups in our business today.
I told you 10 times I'm sending you the check next week. Now get out. Go. I'll send you the check.
He drives me nuts. You know, on my last television show, I had a group of penguins, and this one is their agent.
And that's not all. Monkey see, monkey do.
Never seen on the show before that What's this? Let's see. It says, farewell, Jack. Wait a minute, fellas, come here. Come here. Fellas, I try to explain this is not... Look, this is... Look, fellas. I'm trying to explain. Look, this is not... Listen to me. Listen, this is not my farewell appearance. This is my first farewell appearance. That's what it is. It's my first farewell appearance.
Believe me, poor Jack had trouble with everyone on that show. We all thought it was his farewell special. I remember I came out at the beginning and praised Jack to the skies. Told him that he'd been my idol since I was a kid, how I tried to emulate his styles, his moves, how I'd even tried to copy the way he walked, and how that was the only time I was ever arrested. But then I guess I got a little choked up.
Now that Jack Benny is doing his final farewell show, I feel a personal sense of loss, a kind of emptiness, if you will, and I don't really know how to explain it from the...
Johnny.
Yes, Jack.
What are you doing? I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, why are you crying?
Jack, I'm just honest. I can't help but the thought of you doing your farewell show.
It's not a farewell show. It's my first farewell show. Jack Benny's first farewell special. That's what we advertise. That's what we're doing.
You mean I stood out here and said all those nice things about you and you're not quitting?
Why? Why should I quit? Next time I'll do a second farewell show, then a third. I may do a whole series of farewells.
But Jack, look, I thought you were stepping aside for someone younger.
Like who?
Anybody. Look, Jack, now, I want to ask you something.
Yeah?
If you're not quitting, why am I here working for free? Why am I working for nothing tonight?
Because I'm your idol. That's what. And I'm your friend. Who got you out of jail when you were arrested for walking like me? Now cut that out!
Gee whiz.
Look, Johnny.
Yes.
The title of the show is in all the ads. Plain as day. If you can't read, that's your problem.
Well, you told me.
It's called Jack Benny's first farewell special.
The mind is the first to go.
No.
Now, why would I say the mind's the first thing to go? It could be another part of the anatomy. Believe it or not, this went out on the air just as you're actually seeing it. But I had done the pants bit the day before in rehearsal, you know, to get a laugh out of the crew. And without telling me, those sneaks taped it and put it into the show.
And I'll tell you something else, waiter. I'm not coming to your party Saturday night, either.
You weren't invited.
How did he find out?
How did I find out? I'm catering it. Try to be a nice guy. You know, he doesn't realize what a tough time I had finding that out.
I think you shot it and stuck it.
You know something? I never got one letter of complaint or praise. Well, what I said before about Jack being my idol and patterning my performing style after Jack was really true. And Jack's writers use this as the basis of a very funny sketch in which Jack played the owner of the Kobelski Carnival Troupe. Lucille Ball played his wife, and I played, well, you'll see. Now, the whole troupe sleeps in this trailer, and they're now in Corn Creek, New Mexico. Kobelski has just gotten everyone up and out to work.
Oh, look, Tonto's still asleep.
Hey, Tonto! Tonto, wake up! Go to work!
All right, don't rush me. I'll go to work.
Are you sure he's an Iroquois?
Who cares as long as he brings in the wampum? Hey, Jackie. Jackie, get up, will you? There's work to be done. I don't know what's the matter with that son of ours. He just doesn't have carnival in his blood. Lately, nothing seems to excite him.
Yeah, and how many kids get the opportunity to go to Corn Creek, New Mexico?
Jay, do you think he's got a girlfriend?
Are you kidding? Girls cost money. His idea of a good time is sitting around licking trading stamps. Boy, is he cheap.
I can't understand who he takes after. Hey, where is that boy? Jackie!
Well, I guess I'm ready. Goodbye, Mother. Goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye?
Yeah, Jackie, what's this all about? Well, I'll tell you what it's all about. I'm 21 and I'm leaving.
21. He's 33 if he's a day. What do you mean you're leaving?
Well, I'm sick of this carnival. You know, I don't have to do this. I'm going to change my name and be a comedian. Tell jokes on television. That's where all the money is.
Money, money. There are more important things than money.
If you weren't my father, I'd slap your face.
Now, Jackie, don't be fresh.
Now, how can you even think of leaving the carnival? You're my son. Well, someday this will all be yours.
It's already mine. Who do you think holds the mortgage?
Yeah, he's right. You might as well take this. I'll never be able to keep up the payments.
Now cut that out! You know you can't return merchandise after it's been used for 30 days. But this frying pan belongs to me. I'm going to take it. And this clock, it's mine too. And the can opener. And this is mine. And the glasses. Now, open your mouth.
I will not.
How do you like that? We raised a human claw machine.
You know, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. In all my life, I've never seen such an ingrate. You are, without a doubt, the stingiest, cheapest guy that has ever walked this earth. Well! And I'll tell you something. You're making a mistake, son, going out there. You know, to leave me in this carnival. There are millions of comedians.
But I'm not just a comedian. I can also get him with this. With a load of this, blue eyes.
That's it, son. You got it. Go out there and get it. Go out there and...
I always had fun doing sketches with Jack. Here are some highlights from one we did. It was sort of a Mary Poppins version of a typical earthy Italian movie. Jack played the husband, Rossano, whose wife is leaving him and the kids for a 3-month vacation.
But the Papa, who's gonna take care of us?
Don't worry. Yesterday, your mama, she's a call agency. They're going to send over a governess.
That's right. Now, Rossano, take the bambinos out of here while I finish packing.
All right, come on, baby.
It's hard to believe he followed an organ grinder around for 3 weeks learning that accent.
Who's there?
Oh, it's me, Marcello. They took a gamble calling me Marcello. Millions of people could have thought that was Mastroianni. Well, I was the chauffeur, and this was one of my duties.
Marcello. Oh, I'm gonna miss you. I don't know how I'm gonna get along without you for 3 whole months. I love you.
Wherever I work, it's the same thing.
please, you mashing my mustache.
Come on, Charlie, what's come over you? The first 3 years, you were such a nice chauffeur. All the time you used to hold me and hug me and kiss me. Things were so different.
Well, I had to do something. You didn't have a car.
Ordinarily, I like doing this sort of scene with Sophia Loren, but Jack thought I should do it with this lady. So did Sophia Loren. Anyway, I drove her to the airport, and the governess arrived.
Funny there. There's a nobody there.
That's a pretty good trick. And that governess isn't bad either.
I put this away.
Say your wife was going to be away?
Only 3 more.
Rosano was so excited he ran out to buy pasta for 2. That was his mistake. He should never have left her.
It's a murder driving through traffic with 180 pounds sitting on your lap.
Who are you?
I'm the chauffeur. Who are you?
I'm the governess. And I think you're cute.
There goes Sunday.
Kiss me.
No, please, have a respect for the uniform. What kind of man do you think I am? I cannot cheat on a boss's wife.
I cannot help myself. You are so attractive and so handsome and so strong and so exciting and so masculine. Oh.
I never take a guest spot without my own writers. And we kissed. I hated myself, but with an Elky summer, who am I to care about my opinions?
I don't know which one of these wines to serve. Maria, I bring you some nice... Marcello! Maria, what is it?
His mustache was wrinkled, and I was pressing it.
I don't believe it. Marcello, you cannot do this to me. She's a mine. I saw her first.
Yeah, but I have a better accent.
There was more to the sketch, but you didn't tune in to see great acting. Jack had some big shows, but his 20th TV anniversary was a blockbuster. Everyone turned out for that one. And halfway through the proceedings, Jack got a real surprise.
At this time, I would like to introduce my next guest. This great artist has all... What is that? Hey, fellas, what's that noise? It's a helicopter. It's coming this way. A helicopter? In here? That's all right, Frankie. Did you fly in from Palm Springs?
No, I was having a cup of coffee across the street.
You flew over here from across the street in a helicopter?
Somebody stole my elephant.
Well, that I don't understand at all.
Look, Jack, who are we kidding? I wasn't just across the street having a cup of coffee.
Oh, then you did fly in from Palm Springs?
Yes, I did fly in from Palm Springs.
Oh, then nobody stole your elephant?
No, that part is true.
Now, what are you going to sing, Frankie?
Well, I thought I'd just ad-lib something for about...
Ad-lib?
Ad-lib, yeah. That's from the Latin.
I know. Cesar Romero told me. Go ahead, sing, Dennis.
Frank. Well, my
Frank was great. And then I had a little surprise for Jack that was done in fun, too. But I think you'll see some of the deep affection we had for each other come through.
What is this? What do you got there, Bud?
This is just a plaque given to you by your staff, the network executives, your sponsor, and everyone that has been associated with you, including myself.
That's thrilling. You know, I could cry.
Well, try that.
No. That's nice. What does it say, Bud?
Well, let me tell you. Thanks for the memory, your flair for jollity, your fiddling so off-key. With just a bit more practice, any young man you could be. So thank you so much. Thanks for the memory of love that you inspire. As birthday cakes grow higher, the candles for each year could cause another Frisco fire. Frisco fire. So thanks, Mr. B. You'll never get any older, at least from your head to your shoulder. But don't try to get any bolder and make a date, 'cause it's too late. So thanks for the memory of friendship you and I have shared through years gone by. I've been your pal and you've been mine. That will never die. Thank you so much. Wow, that was very spacey.
That was great. Bob, that was just great. Hey, Art. Hey, thank you. It's yours. Thank you. Now, Bob, I'd like to sing something for you.
All right.
Can it be the plaque that set you back at least $1.50? Oh, no, it is the plaque.
I was on lots of Jack shows, and I still don't believe some of the things I did to him.
Well, let's see what this is. Oh, this is a telegram from my closest friend, George Burns. It says, Dear Jack, this is a talking telegram. Hold it up to your ear and listen carefully. Talking telegram? Never heard of such a thing. Really?
Only an idiot would stand before 40 million people holding a telegram to his ear. Look, if everyone else could drive him nuts, why shouldn't his closest friend? Nah, I shouldn't have done that. I'm ashamed of myself. But Jack got even with me. How he talked me into this one, I'll never know.
I'm glad that's over. Hey, Neptune. Neptune.
I'm not through yet.
Are you through?
Almost.
I guess when your plumbing gets old, you keep going. Hey, watch it.
It's not me. It's from that fountain across the street.
Oh, yeah. Hannibal and his elephants.
Rome should be ashamed of itself with that water. It's making me sick.
Could be worse. We could be standing somewhere in Tijuana.
Between the water and having to look down at those coins in the fountain is driving me crazy.
Hey, Neptune, guess what?
What?
Come Friday, I'll be 500 years old.
Androphanes. You're 500? You don't look a day over 380.
Are you kidding? It's been that long since my toes fell off.
It has?
Yeah, I really miss those toes. Well, you've been here as long as I have. You'd be surprised what you can get along without.
I hear that Hercules over there just lost his nose.
Lucky him.
It's boring standing like that. So after a while, Androphony started to sing, and Neptune couldn't take it.
Don't go hunting possums. Oh, honeymoon, shine on in June. Oh, hear me croon this lovely tune. Trees and bees are sighing, crying it. Lovey, let me like red rose rag. Oh, honey bee, be sweet to me. My heart is free. Here's the key. Lock up your garden gate, honey. I know you'll wait under the rambling rose tree. Pick a pinky petal for your papa's pride. Beg a burning blossom for your blushing bride. Rock me like a flower. Cuddle me.
Classy finish, huh? Can I tell you something? Those pigeons were not well trained. Now you're gonna see a thing I had the most fun doing on a Benny show. 2 bushels in effect. By the way, Gregory Peck is the tall one.
Honey, my heart will find for you when the toilet is through. Every little star blinking from afar will be shining just for you. My honey, each breeze will sigh for you. Birds be singing for you too. I will hum an old tune every morning, night and noon. Oh, honey, I will long for you.
Color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. Wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Now when I remember spring, all the joy that love can bring, I will be remembering the shadow
Just what is wrong with the girl of today is a problem this world has to face. They blame it on this and they blame it on that, but they don't seem to get any place. It isn't the lipstick, the cocktails, the jazz that causes the girlie to fall. It's the mother who says if you're not home at 10, then you don't have to come home at all. There's many a girl at Whiskey A Go-Go tonight who would have and could have been good. And each one of them is a living mistake of a parent who misunderstood. So make a pal of your daughter. Make a pal of your daughter. Tell her what's what. And don't hide that book on the shelf. For it's the girls who are wise to the ways of the world who make it tough on guys like myself.
All the joy that love can bring, we will be remembering. The shadow of your
It's hard to believe. I was 94 years old then. And I'm a country singer, too.
A love letter to Jack Benny will return in a moment.
Back in 1931, Jack came on an Ed Sullivan radio show with this opening line. Hello, folks, this is Jack Benny. There'll be a short pause while everyone says, who cares? Well, somebody must have cared because in a few weeks, Jack had his own show. And before long, 30 million of us were switching on sets like this one every Sunday to hear...
Hello again, this is Jack Benny talking.
There were some pretty big radio hits in those days. Modesty prevents me from mentioning one. But Jack was...
We were all in the top 10. We had to be. There were only 8 shows.
And that's counting Phil Spitoni. But Jack became a national habit with dialogue like this.
I envy you that trip to Honolulu. Are you going to stay there all summer?
I'd like to, Don, but I have to be back by the end of July to start my new picture.
Oh, that's right. That's the one you're going to make with Fred Allen, isn't it?
That's what Paramount thought, but I straightened that out. In the first place, how would they ever photograph that face of his?
What's the matter with his face?
I could talk for an hour on that. Why, do you know, Don, when we were in New York last month, the bags under Alan's eyes looked at Phil Harris's and said, "My son, my son."
Say, Jack, who's going to be your leading lady?
Only lovely, beautiful Mary Martin, that's all.
Mary Martin? Oh, isn't that the girl that used to sing My Heart Belongs to Daddy?
Yep, that's her.
Is she going to sing it in your picture?
I don't know. It's a kind of an old song.
Well, you're an old daddy. Revive it.
Oh, quiet. Have you ever been to Honolulu, Phil?
No, but I sure wish I could go. Oh, boy, how I'd like to sit on the beach in the moonlight with a couple of those cute little papayas in my arms.
Cute little what?
Papayas, you know, girls, dames.
Papayas?
Sure. Don't you speak Honolulian?
From the start, Jack had that unique format that kept him at the top or near the top of every radio poll for 20 years.
And what a cast. Mary Livingston, Don Wilson, Phil Harris, Dennis Day, Rochester. Who else had that kind of talent on the show?
And that was Jack's first team. How about all those other great characters like Mr. Kitzel and that racetrack tout?
And of course, the old guy guarding Jack's vault from the year one.
Oh, who goes there? Friend or foe?
Friend.
What's the password? Old soldiers never die.
Oh, it's you, General Benny.
And those two wacky telephone operators, Gertrude Gishift and Mabel Flapsaddle.
Oh, what is it, Geitship?
Mr. Benny's loin is flashing.
Yeah, I wonder what the brave bull wants now.
And we can't forget the train announcer.
Train now leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
That, of course, was Mel Blanc, who also played Jack's French violin teacher, his parrot, and everything else from that lousy car motor to an English horse. In 1950, Jack went into television, and he had mixed feelings about it.
There were some big advantages to radio. Rehearsals were at a minimum. There were no retakes. You could wear the same suit year after year. What a great medium. Let's see, I was in radio 18 years. I had 3 sponsors and 4 suits. No, I had 4 sponsors and 3 suits. But I must admit, I really was worried when I first went into television. I'll tell you why. You see, in radio, the listening audiences created their own pictures. But on television, now let's take my vault. You see, that looked different. My living room wasn't what they expected. I didn't really look cheap. The only true picture was Phil Harris. Who else would lead an orchestra lying face down?
On television, Jack had to lean more on himself and his guests, and the old gang appeared less frequently. But they did show up from time to time, like in this scene at the airport.
I want you to check these bags and make sure they're not overweight.
Overweight?
Yes, you see, you have to be very careful, because when they're overweight, they charge you extra. You know, like 88 cents a pound to Mexico City, that's where we're going, and 64 cents a pound to Acapulco, and 52 cents a pound to Tijuana.
I've got an idea.
What?
You go to Mexico City and send your clothes to Tijuana.
This was a Rochester who had recovered from a stroke, but never did regain that great delivery of his. Jack knew it, but he never let Rochester know that he knew it. He continued using him whenever he could. There were other familiar faces at the airport.
Peggy, here I am. Over here. Peggy. Hey.
Dennis Day.
Oh, hi.
Hi, my goodness, is this a surprise meeting you here?
Yeah, what a small world, huh?
Gee, Dennis, it's so good to see you. I can't tell you how many times I've thought about you these past few years. I've missed you. I really have.
Hey, Peggy, hey, look who's here. It's... what was that name again?
What is that name again? Dennis.
Hey, what a coincidence. That's my name, too.
Dennis, now stop with that silly talk again. You know my name is Benny, Jack Benny.
Oh, yeah. You see, Peggy, I told you he doesn't look any better in person.
And you know there had to be this character.
Oh, Mister.
Yeah.
Are you the ticket clerk?
No, I'm a 747 with a mustache.
Now stop with that, will you, please? I remember you. Listen, I want my ticket validated. Here.
Well, Mexico City. What are we running away from this time?
I'm not running away from anything. Just validate my ticket.
There.
Thanks. Hey, wait a minute. I gave you a round-trip ticket. You didn't give me the return here.
Well, you can't blame me for trying.
Frank Nelson, what a riot. And good old Donzie. For a big occasion, who else but Don Wilson to give Jack a proper introduction?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Don Wilson, and I'd like to say what a great personal thrill it is for me to have the honor of introducing the star of our show tonight on his 20th television anniversary. Now, as most of you know, I had the privilege of working with Jack since 1934, first in radio and then on television until he concluded his weekly series. Since then, of course, Jack is kept busy with specials, concerts, nightclubs, and personal appearances. And you want to know something? Not once did I ever hear from him.
Stop!
But Jack's just doing great, and really, I'm very, very happy for him. But what about me? Sitting out there in Palm Springs waiting for the phone to ring. For all he knows, I could be starving.
What are you doing?
Well, I'll admit Jack has a lot of talent. But there is such a thing as loyalty, devotion, a spark of humanity.
Please, forget it. Stop. What is this? What's the matter? You're supposed to introduce me, that's all.
Introduce yourself.
Of the old radio gang, the only one missing was Mary.
Jack begged her to come on, but all those cameras made her nervous.
Really? I thought she just didn't dig working for scale.
Well, that too. Anyway, one time Jack tricked her. While the show was going on, he called her at home.
Hello?
Mary, who were you just talking to?
Nobody. I told you 1,000 times for $2 more we could have a private line.
All right, I'll think about it. Now, aren't you sorry you're not on my show?
I don't know. I'm not watching it.
What? Mary, I know you're too nervous to be on the show, but what excuse have you got for not watching it?
Because you're too sneaky.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
It means that if you knew I was watching the show, you'd have hidden a camera in this room and I would be one of your guests.
Oh, how can you say that?
How about the last time you asked me to be on your show? You sent me a painting of Betsy Ross making the American flag.
So what? That was a gift. What are you laughing at?
Some gift. Betsy had a camera hidden to the flag.
Well, it looks like Jack had the last laugh.
Until he got home. What about Phil Harris?
Oh, Philzy came on one show, and it was quite a reunion until he started to sing That's What I Like About the South. Jack ran out and told him he couldn't sing that song. It made no sense. Phil insisted that it did. Jack told him to continue. He'd prove that it didn't.
Here come old Bob with all the news, got the box back coat and the button shoes, but he's all caught up in them union dues. That's what I like about the South. Here come old Roy down the street.
What happened to Bob?
See them scuffling feet. He would rather sleep than eat, and that's what I like about the South. Tell you what place called Do-Wah-Diddy. Well, it ain't no town, it ain't no city. It's awful small, but awful pretty will do. Wah-Diddy.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! That's the one I've been waiting for. That's the one I've been waiting for.
That's the one he's been waiting for.
That's the one. Do-Wah-Diddy. Okay, fellas, bring it in.
Bring what in?
Bring this map in. Bring it in. I want to prove something. Now, Phil, here is the latest map of the United States. Look at it. I want you to show me one place on this map where it says Do-Wah-Diddy. That's what. I can see Walla Walla, Muskegon, Ashtabula, Waxahachie, but where in the name of Aristotle Onassis is Do-Wah-Diddy?
Well, I just told you.
You told me what?
Here's what I told you. I said, did I tell you about the place called Do-Wah-Diddy? It ain't no town. It ain't no city. It's awfully small, but oh, so pretty. Do-Wah-Diddy.
Don't describe it! Don't describe it! Where is it? What is it? Is it a real place? Look, what is it?
What are you talking about? Do you think I'm nuts? When I'm telling you stuff like this, it's not a fig leap of my imagination.
That's figment.
Oh. Get this thing out of here.
Just answer me one thing.
You're lousing my song.
Listen, I don't care. I want you to
That's all
answer
I
me
know.
one thing.
What?
If Do-Wah-Diddy ain't no town and ain't no city,
Yeah.
what is it? Is it a hamlet? Is it a village? Is it a gas station? Is it a washing machine? What? I defy you to answer me.
You know I love you when you get mad. You know the blood's almost up to your chin.
Answer me one question. Where is Do-Wah-Diddy?
Jackson, I can't tell you.
Why not?
Then Alice will know where I've been for the last 4 months.
Jack had a theory about the violin.
And that was his best. Imagine if he wasn't trying. Let's not overdo this. I've been spoiled by Henny Youngman.
But you know, Jack really did love the violin. He joked about the one he played. It was a Strad, Joe Strad. Or he'd say his great-grandfather handed it down to his grandfather, and his grandfather handed it down to his father, and his father sold it to him. But it was a very expensive instrument.
I don't think Jack got a bigger charge out of anything he did than those benefit concerts he did in his later years with the Philharmonic orchestras all over the country. He actually loved playing with the Ormondys and the Stokowskis, and he raised millions.
Yeah, the cheap $5 seats were up front. To sit in the back row, you paid $100. And for $200, you didn't have to come at all.
When he played with the Israeli Philharmonic, they say that Moshe Dayan took the patch off his eye and put it over his ear.
Well, his great friend Isaac Stern, the great concert artist, once said, when Jack Benny walks out in white tie and tails in front of those 90 musicians, he looks like the world's greatest violinist. It's a shame that he has to play. Funny line, huh?
From time to time, Jack liked to do movie takeoffs. So when The Graduate was a big smash, he had to do his version of it. Naturally, Jack played the Dustin Hoffman part, and he looked very carefully to find just the right person for the Anne Bancroft role of Mrs. Robinson, the one who seduces Benjamin when he comes home from college.
remember me, don't you?
Yes, Mrs. Robinson.
Well, then why are you ignoring me like this?
I'm thinking about my future.
So am I.
But I'm thinking about 5, 10 years from now.
I'm thinking about tonight. Here, have a cigarette.
No, thank you.
Don't you smoke?
No.
Don't you drink?
No. Well, I think
Sit down. Benjamin, why are you fighting me? Don't you think I'm attractive?
Well.
Don't you think I'm beautiful?
No,
Do you think I'm too aggressive?
Now, look, Mrs. Robinson, I just got home from school. Mrs. Robinson, please, I want you to stay away from me. Now, please. Look, I've got to think of... Look, Mrs. Robinson, now, please. Mrs. Robinson, now, stay away from me. Stay away from me. Look at Mrs. Robinson, where is all of this leading to?
To the Sycamore Hotel at 5th and Grand.
Robinson!
Jack was my best friend, but I'm not sure. But I think Dustin Hoffman did it a little better. Phyllis Diller and Bankrupt, a toss-up.
That was The Graduate. In another of his shows, Jack did just the reverse. He played a wolf.
Jack a wolf? I didn't know he was in Little Red Riding Hood.
You see, I'm talking about a whole different Jack. Back in the days when he was a dashing Hollywood heartthrob. A Jack none of us ever knew.
Including Mary.
That was when Lucille Ball was getting her first chance as a Goldwyn girl. And one day, Jack met her on the movie set.
You're cute. What's your name?
Lucille Klutz. Ball. Ball Klutz. Lucille Ball. That's what it is. I'm sure that's it.
Well, permit me.
Sorry.
That's all right, honey. It always happens.
Oh, really?
Sir, yes. I'm just a chorus boy on this picture, and I hate to interrupt.
Well, then don't.
It's all right. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm a big admirer of yours, Mr. Benny, and it'd make my day if I could have your autograph.
Well, certainly. What's your name, kid?
Marion Michael Morrison.
Marion Michael Morrison. No wonder you're a chorus boy. You'll never get anywhere with a name like that.
Well, I have been thinking of changing it, Mr. Benny, to Wayne.
Wayne? That's not too bad. Wayne. How about Wayne Newton?
How about John Wayne Newton?
That's worse than Marion Michael Morrison.
You're right, kid. Now, let me give you some advice. You're too big and tall and clumsy to be a chorus boy.
Yeah, you're a klutz.
Okay. Now, listen, kid. Why don't you buy yourself a horse, a cowboy suit, put a black patch over your eye, and you'll be in business.
You mean you want me to sell shirts?
El Klutz, though, I told you.
No, be a cowboy. Get into westerns, and you'll be a star.
But that takes true grit.
When it came to guest stars, Jack never believed in booking them and then trying to figure out what to do with them. He felt the idea came first, and then you try for the guest that fits it.
That's why the Gregory Pecks and John Waynes, people who ordinarily wouldn't do comedy shows, didn't hesitate to do the Benny Show. You wouldn't believe the people Jack got on the show.
When Harry Truman came on, even Jack couldn't believe it. But there they were, just the two of them, trading lines for the entire half hour.
And he wasn't even plugging his book.
Speaking of presidents, this one came on that farewell special we mentioned before. Jack had been insisting all through the show that he wasn't retiring. When Ronald Reagan, who was governor then, appeared and gave Jack a very big problem.
Jack, as governor of the state of California, it's a great privilege for me to be here to represent all your friends in show business.
What?
Well, because, Jack, when they heard this was your farewell show, that you're retiring.
But, Governor.
Well, the entire industry, they
Ronnie.
all got together. The stars, the producers, the writers, the sound men, the stage hands. With affection in their hearts, they all chipped in and bought you this farewell gift. This magnificent Rolls Royce. Jack, since you won't be working anymore, you'll have plenty of time to enjoy this specially built car with its many unique features. The telephone, the color TV set, the bar, the stereo, and your name, your initials set in diamonds on the door.
Diamonds?
That's right, Jack. It's our goodbye to you. This beautiful $48,000 automobile.
But, Governor, I wasn't planning to... $48,000? That's 10 million yen.
Here's your gold, solid gold ignition key.
Besides those you've seen tonight, here are some of the stars who appeared on Jack's TV shows through the years. Watch closely. You're going to see a lot of your favorites. the kid from Waukegan had quite a career. 65 years. How do you cover that in 2 hours?
And how do you sit here and find the words that can begin to convey Jack's incredible stature? Not just with the fans, but in the industry. The affection and respect he had from his peers.
Maybe that roster of guest stars we just showed says it for us. From Humphrey Bogart and Marilyn Monroe to Billy Graham. Sooner or later, they all showed up on the Jack Benny Show.
Lucille Ball came on so often she was like a regular. And she made one unscheduled appearance. Jack was saying good night and thanking his guests.
Lucy, what are you doing here?
How dare you do a special without me?
She did that for a laugh. But that's the way we felt. All Jack had to do was ask. We would have come on the show for nothing.
And frequently did. You know, we use the term pretty loosely these days, but Jack was truly a show business giant. He didn't just stand on the stage, he owned it. For years now, the networks have been trying to come up with a new Jack Benny type series. The format is there, the writers are still around, but there's one slight problem. How do you come up with another Jack Benny?
I once saw Jack lie down on the stage and let a full-grown elephant place a foot on Jack's head. It was really scary. After the show, I said, Jack, you really shouldn't have let that elephant put his foot on your head. You know what he said? Gee, I thought I got a good laugh. George, you were really the closest to Jack. Was there anything that meant more to him than getting a big laugh?
Getting 2 big laughs. Look, show business was Jack's life. Sure, he had interests. He loved Mary, daughter Joni. We were important to him. But hearing those laughs, that kept him young and vital. That's why I'm so glad about this evening. Jack would have loved it.
Yeah, I can just hear him up there saying, what took you so long?
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, everyone.
Everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
She shot JR. Now, who's trying to kill her?
Who is this?
Monday, Mary Crosby stars in the world premiere of Midnight Lace.
Who are you?
Stalked by a mysterious figure who is out to kill her or drive her insane. A classic suspense thriller, Midnight Lace. Watch February's finest on NBC.
The rave reviews keep pouring in for Hill Street Blues. Does for cops what Lou Grant has done for newspapers. Saturday at 10, 9 Central and Mountain.
It's 8 a.m. Susan Lloyd starts cooking sausage for breakfast. At the same time, Pam Walters starts her sausage.
The brown and serve's ready. Wait, be patient.
The Walters are enjoying Swift Premium Brown and Serve sausage. Pre-cooked, just 5 minutes from sizzle to serve. Juicy and delicious, real meaty sausage. So, when you want great-tasting sausage, why wait? Have Swift Premium Brown and Serve.
Great taste, without the wait.
Taste the high country. Taste the high country.
Once you taste the high country, no downstream beer will do. Coors is brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water and its own special high country barley.
It's no downstream beer. It's no city beer. It's Coors.
Taste the high country. Climb up to Coors.
Introducing Project Peacock, this Sunday from the creator of Snoopy. It's the big stuffed dog. A zany adventure when some crazy crooks grab everybody's favorite food.
Sunday, the most shocking event of the 70s becomes a landmark motion picture. Why were these students killed at Kent State? Jeff, a fun-loving musician who thought everyone was his friend. Sandy, she cared more for people than politics.
I'm against the war and all, people getting killed.
Kent State, what really happened? Parental discretion advised.
Here's your problem.
My 4-month cleaner?
These 4-month colorless cleaners have calcium hypochlorite. It's a corrosive chemical that can damage your toilet tank parts.
But I need a strong cleaner.
Automatic Vanish is strong, but with no calcium hypochlorite, so it's safe. Just flush. The color says it's working hard even under the rim, fighting dirt and stains.
Great. I'll use Vanish from now on.
Automatic Vanish. Tough on stains, safe on plumbing.
Mustang,
The sky's the limit for 1981. Now Mustangs available with a rakish new T-roof. Mustang, born to run with the wind. Sure-footed to handle quick turns. Mustang, a world of high gas mileage you might not expect from such a high-spirited car.
Mustang!
Capture a Mustang, America's most popular sports car. From the world of better ideas at Ford.
Discount Furniture Showcase announces the grand opening of our third new store at M291 and 23rd Streets in Independence. From basics to designer furniture, TVs, and appliances, you can't beat our prices anywhere. Right now, there's hundreds of half-price specials from name brands like Broyhill, Pulaski, Quasar, Gibson, and more. Dinettes from $39, microwaves from $199, recliners from $99. The lowest prices anywhere at the grand opening of Discount Furniture Showcase, Bannister at Blue Ridge, in the Riverside Red X Plaza, and now at M291 and 23rd Streets in Independence.
The question of commercial endorsements for former hostage Rodney Sickman. The story tonight at 10:30.
What's so special about Burger King specialty sandwiches?
Well, juicy roast beef, fresh tomato, white meat chicken, real egg mayo, toasted French rolls. It's so light. Lots of choice.
Served day and night.
Pile high.
Just my size.
Darn goodbye.
Great with fries.
Hot, crisp, juicy. They make them special. Roast beef, chicken, fish. Very special.
Delicious.
Fabulous. Tasty.
Special.
Terrific.
Well, I kid you.
Specialties at Burger King.
I was just asking.
It took more than a few minutes to damage your hair. Take more than a few minutes to treat it with Clairol Condition, the amazing beauty pack treatment that keeps on working for a full 30 minutes. The Condition Deep Treatment formula can make the most damaged hair more beautiful again, silky and soft and healthy looking. Spend 30 minutes with Clairol Condition and see what a difference 30 minutes can make. Also try Clairol's Condition Shampoo with Condition Protein.
Sounds crispy. I love that peanutty smell. What you eating, Luke?
Whatchamacallit?
What do you call it?
Whatchamacallit?
I mean, what's its name?
I told you the name.
It not?
Did too.
You said whatchamacallit.
That's right.
Whatchamacallit from Hershey. The thick, crunchy bar of peanutty tasting crisp drenched in chocolate. Whatchamacallit. You can ask for it by name.
Give me that.
Give me what?
Oh.
When the sun breaks out, lift up your head and shout. It's gonna be a great day.
Gentlemen, don't dawdle.
Kellogg's waits for you, that spirit come shine.
Jenkins, I am not amused.
Promising you a great day.
A good breakfast toast builds a strong mind.
It's not far away. Kellogg's will help you stay. It's gonna be a great day.
I hate pain.
There's something very strong inside this medicine chest.
What is it?
A maximum strength pain reliever capsule. New maximum strength Anacin capsules. They have more pain reliever than this regular strength product, even more than this higher strength product. Maximum strength Anacin capsules have the maximum pain reliever you can buy without prescription.
Maximum strength Anacin capsules. I'll try them.
Maximum strength Anacin capsules or tablets.
Unaware of what's happening, as the Burks quietly sleep, a pasty film covers their mouths. They wake with the worst breath of the day.
Morning.
Scope?
Use mine.
Yours leaves your breath medicine-y, not minty like Scope.
Mine kills germs.
Scope kills germs.
Come on.
Try.
Minty fresh.
And?
Kills germs. Morning.
Scope fights bad breath, doesn't give medicine breath.
I didn't use my antiperspirant today.
He forgot to pack it.
But after one long meeting and a crowded flight home, I still felt dry. Thanks to Sure Solid.
Sure Solid. Solid, so the protection goes on dry. Solid through and through for an extra day of dryness.
I hope I never need 2 solid days of dryness again.
But it's nice to be sure.
Sure Solid, an extra day of dryness, just to be sure.
Friday on Harbor Valley, Stella poses as a princess to foil a PTA. Next on Sanford, Cliff's in love, but his romance puts Fred in a frenzy. Then it's mystery and intrigue as Nero Wolf becomes the guardian of a mobster's daughter.
I'm scared, Mr. Wolf. I need help.
But she's a hired decoy and a setup for murder, leaving Wolf without a client.
This is getting interesting.
And Archie, the target of an assassin. Can Wolf solve the mystery of the dead decoy? It all happens Friday on NBC.
This cold's big trouble. What'd you get me?
Well, you've been sniffling, sneezing in your head, Stuffy. So I got you some time capsules.
But I'm also coughing, aching, feverish. And tonight, I gotta rest.
I was supposed to get a sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine?
That's NyQuil. Relieves everything these capsules do, plus other symptoms they don't.
NyQuil.
I need some.
I'll get some.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
There's nothing like a roller coaster ride. There's nothing like a view from a mile in the sky. And there's nothing like the flavor of juicy fruit gum.
Pick a pack of Juicy Fruit Gum. So sweet tasting, fascinating, so juicy good, there's nothing else like it.
Well, there's nothing quite like the feeling when you've won. And there's nothing like the flavor of Juicy Fruit Gum. The fascinating flavor of Juicy Fruit Gum.
TV4 and the FOP have joined forces to present a celebrity auction for Easter seals. Saturday, February 7th, TV4's Steve Oakley and auctioneer Colonel Dale Vaughn will put hundreds of items up for bid, and a home video recorder with a complete set of Royals championship game tapes could be yours.
That's the celebrity auction, Saturday, February the 7th at the Uptown. Be there.
Meet Thursday's Child with Cynthia Smith tonight on Action 4 News.
And what would you like for dessert, sweetheart? I'll have some chocolate pudding, my dear. And butterscotch for me.
How about some of the real thing?
Oh, yeah! This looks like Grandma's pudding. Yeah, with homemade topping.
Only I use Cool Whip. Know why?
Why?
Because Cool Whip tastes fresh as your grandma's homemade topping.
My dear, I think you should use Cool Whip in all your puddings from now on.
Cool Whip non-dairy whip topping.
Tastes fresh as homemade.
Hold me tight.
Kiss my ultra bright.
Turn out the light.
Kiss my ultra bright.
I've made up my mind that tonight's the night.
I'm gonna let him kiss my ultra bright. Ultra Bright toothpaste gives you a mouth you can be sure of, with teeth that are their whitest, breath that's the brightest.
So brush off every one, and when the moment's right, smile and say,
Kiss my ultra bright.
Where's my vitamin C?
Harry, we can do better. Where's my vitamin C?
George, we can do better.
What can do better than your vitamin C? Introducing One-A-Day Core C500.
Not just your regular 500 milligrams of C. They found a way to bond 500 milligrams of C and a multivitamin in the same tablet. Where's my vitamin C?
Jerry, we can do better. New One-A-Day Core C500. Anything your C can do, we can do better.
Arsonists make things hot for Punch and John.
Whoever torched that thing had enough gasoline to float a battleship.
Chips, then a gauntlet. It started out as an ambush and ended up as a war.
Open fire!
Clint Eastwood, a renegade cop caught between the mob and the police.
Sharky's gotta be stopped. Stopped hard.
With Sandra Locke, a hooker who may cost him his life.
You talk dirty, I gag you. If you run, I'll shoot you.
The Gauntlet, after Disney's Wonderful World and Chips Sunday.
It's harvest time. Trees full of big, crunchy nuts. Time for a Mars bar. You get big, crunchy nuts in a Mars bar. Sun-drenched nuts gathered at the peak of ripeness. Toasted up golden brown. Mars bar. Big, crunchy nuts in creamy nougat, caramel, rich milk chocolate. If you like the taste of big, crunchy nuts, you're gonna love a Mars bar. Mmm. You get big, crunchy nuts in a Mars bar.
When there's nothing but mud where the road used to be, and you feel like your car is working overtime, it's nice to have this Toyota pulling for you. Introducing Toyota's lowest-priced car, the 1981 front-wheel drive Toyota Corolla Tercel. The Toyota Tercel, a car that pulls its own weight.
And a little bit more.
Oh, what a feeling.
Tercel.
Saturday, it's Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters with guests Andy Gibb and Minnie Pearl. Next on Walking Tall, Puss's father is held hostage and it's up to the sheriff to save him. Then on Hill Street Blues, the guys go undercover to catch a rapist, but the manhunt turns out to be a drag.
Nobody touches my upper lip.
A great night Saturday on NBC.
Bugsy Siegel. Men feared him. Women wanted him. His stories told in the Gangster Chronicles. Premieres February 12th. Parental discretion advised.
Right now, Robert Blake is back as Joe Dancer, Private Eye, a world premiere next. Tomorrow, the Harper Valley PTA reads Stella's mail, so Stella poses as a princess to stop the postbox snoops. Next, Fred's nephew brings home a girl who doesn't meet with Fred's approval on Sanford. And Nero Wolfe must solve the mystery of the dead decoy tomorrow on NBC.